Chapter 2. The rain was putting a damper on her nightly run, but it was the only way she could burn off the frustration of that damn Ty Pendleton. It didn't matter if she was in New York or Virginia. That man, who was in Atlanta, would find his way under Kiki Simmons' skin and cause chaos all through the night. An entire year had passed since the last time they'd kissed, touched, made love, and he still lingered in her system. "Why, Lord, hast thou forsaken me?" she yelled as she ran the track in Central Park, punching in the air. The relentless rain didn't daunt the 27-year-old literary agent's quest. She was on a mission to keep that man from disturbing her sleep. The only way she could do that was to be bone tired by the time she reached the condo. With her black and pink tank top, matching black body-hugging tights, Yankee baseball cap, and black hoodie to protect her from the rain and 40-degree October weather, she ran through Central Park at 11 o'clock at night, oblivious to her surroundings, with only her mission in focus. As she neared the end of the park, her long, sleek legs propelled her body one step at a time, challenging her thigh muscles until they screamed. She ignored the fact that her thighs and her heart ached. She ran steady and hard. Suddenly, a hand reached out and grabbed her hoodie from behind. She almost fell backwards, but her natural instincts kicked in as she pulled away and turned on her attacker, landing one of the punches she was swinging in the wind right on his jaw. She jumped back as the man advanced on her. "You picked the wrong sister tonight. I'm itching to whip a man's ass." She karate kicked him in the chest, then began bouncing with her fists up, ready for her attacker. The man jumped to his feet, throwing a right hook her way. She bobbed low, throwing an uppercut into his gut. "Really? You better bring something better than that." She swung around, jumped, and kicked him in the face before he had a chance to straighten from the uppercut. She went back to her defensive stance, bobbing and weaving as he fell to the ground. "Oh, don't stop now. I'm just getting warmed up," she yelled down at the man. Another man ran towards the confrontation, positioning his body between hers and the attacker. "Hey, what the hell's going on?" the stranger yelled. A few parkgoers stopped to see the action. Kiki continued with the bouncing stance. "Don't stop him. I got some more for him." The man on the ground got up and ran off. The Good Samaritan was doing all he could not to laugh at the man hightailing it out of the park. Turning, he reached for her, asking, "Are you all right?" Kiki, still bouncing, rolled her shoulders and tilted her head left, then right. "Yeah, I'm good." "What, you want some too?" The man held his hands up as if surrendering. "No," he shook his head and then started to laugh. "I just wanted to make sure you were okay." Realizing the threat was over, Kiki stopped bouncing and exhaled, mad because she didn't have another man to punch. "Damn," she said. The man laughed harder. She stared at him for a moment and then let out a little chuckle. The man continued to laugh. "I bet he'll think twice before he attacks anyone else in the park." The man's laugh was contagious. Kiki couldn't help but join in. "I'm not the one tonight. I could whip him and a few more." "Well, whoever you are, I think I'd like to stay on your good side." "Whew." He straightened from laughing and extended his hand. "Ram Hunter." Hesitantly, she extended her hand. "Kiki Simmons." "You're not from here." The frown on her face made him continue. You have an accent." "This is New York. Everybody has an accent." "True. Well, Ms. Simmons, may I have the honor of walking you home?" The rain hampered her ability to get a good look at her would-be hero, but that really didn't matter. She knew it wasn't Ty. "Thank you for the offer, but I don't live far. I'll be fine." She exhaled and began walking towards the Central Park South exit near 59th Street. She turned back as she continued to walk. "Thanks for stopping." "Any time for a damsel in distress," he called out as she ran out of the park. She began a slow jog as Ram Hunter watched from a distance. Walking backwards, she teased by placing her hand over her heart. "My knight in shining armor." She smiled, then jogged away. Stepping into her condo, Kiki kicked her wet sneakers off and dropped the hoodie on the floor of the mudroom. Walking through the foyer, she stepped down into the sunken living room. She clicked the remote on the table to close the drapes, which hung at the windows and surrounded the room, eliminating the skyline and the lights of the city. The drapes were almost always open. Pushing another button, the stereo system came on, filling the room with the smooth sounds of rhythm and blues singer Silk Davies. Kiki had had the pleasure of meeting the man in person last year when his wife, Siri Austin, became her first client. She loved the couple, but hated each time they would invite her to one of their family gatherings. They were responsible for her meeting that damn Tyrone Pendleton. That alone was reason enough for her to want to kill both of them. However, it did not take away from the man's talent. Silk Davies could sing. Kiki walked to the left, bypassing the kitchen, guest room, and office, choosing to go directly to the shower stall, stripping out of her clothes along the way. A good shower, a few reads from potential clients, and she would sleep soundly for the night. The warmth and soothing beat coming from the multiple shower heads began to massage her muscles, clear her mind, and briefly ease her soul from the moment she stepped in. She savored every minute of relief for her screaming muscles. After she rubbed baby oil over her chocolate brown body, she donned the only nightwear she owned, a Derek Jeter No. 2 jersey. She found her way to sleep with the man nightly, while others threw themselves at his feet. Yes, she was a Yankees fan and proud of it. That damn Tyrone Pendleton was an Atlanta Braves fan. They constantly argued over Chipper Jones and Derek Jeter. That was another reason she slept in the captain's jersey that Ty had bought for her, even though he did not like the man. It was sweet things like that that made her fall irrevocably in love with the quiet, arrogant nerd she passionately referred to as that damn Tyrone Pendleton. Sitting on the bed, she watched ESPN as she finger-twisted her natural hair. The Yankees were in a dead heat with the Baltimore Orioles for first place in the American League East Division. Every game counted. After checking the standings, she settled under the blue and white comforter, relieved to see that her team had won, yet frustrated to see that Baltimore had won as well. Both were still tied for the top spot with less than 20 games to go. Sighing, she pulled out the manuscript she had begun from the nightstand, turned the television off, and continued reading. The job as a literary agent was at times 24/7. Sometimes her clients would have an idea that they wanted to talk through with her and tended to forget that she had a life, or simply needed sleep. How her authors could be up all hours of the night writing was a mystery to her. However, she was making a very lucrative living from the work they produced. To be honest, she loved being a part of the process of delivering literary masterpieces to the world. In addition, reading their work at night helped her to fall asleep, as she prayed it would tonight. An hour later, she was asleep with the manuscript lying open on her chest. Her cell phone chimed, startling her from her sleep. She jumped, knocking the pages to the floor as she reached for the phone. Damn, hello! Hey, Rocket. Jake? Why in the hell are you waking me up at 1 a.m? She froze for a moment. Has something happened to Ty? Is he all right? Is he hurt? Slow down, Rocket, Jake cautioned. Boss is fine. Kiki, now angry, replies, Then why in the hell are you calling me at 1 a.m? The boss wanted me to make sure you were all right. Kiki sat back on the bed. He knows how to use a phone. I've witnessed it myself. Jake laughed. He had no idea why the boss was letting this woman slip through his fingers. In his eyes, she was perfect for him. The boss was quiet, soft-spoken, always thinking before he acted. Kiki was loud, outspoken, and rarely thought before she acted. Man, she had a mouth on her. The woman didn't hold anything back. As different as they were, she and the boss were explosive together. Anyone who wasn't deaf, dumb, or blind could see it and feel it whenever the two of them were in the same room. That's why I like you, Rocket. You don't hold back. I like you too, but my name is not Rocket, she said, smiling. You're always going to be Rocket to me. Every time I see you, you're shooting off that mouth of yours at somebody, and I think of a rocket firecracker exploding. Not funny, she smiled. So, seriously, what's up? Why the late night call? Jake hesitated. Boss has a feeling something's up. You know what he can do with his feelings, she huffed. Seriously, Rocket, the man that worked with us on the LaToya Wright sting was stabbed Thursday night. He just wanted someone to touch base with you. LaToya Wright? The woman that tried to blackmail Eric? One and the same. I thought she was in prison. She is. However, something about the way Roy was hurt made Boss think of her. Roy has been very low-key. Moved to North Carolina after the sting. Been doing the right thing, you know. I don't have to tell you how vengeful the woman can be. You were there, you know. Just like you know Boss is usually not far off beat. If he was that concerned, he could have called himself. When was the last time you answered a call from his number? Jake asked. He is a very resourceful man. He could have found a way, she quipped. He did. That's why I'm calling, said Jake. Well, as you can tell, I'm fine. Besides, LaToya Wright does not want a piece of me. She'll think Takeo was a lamb compared to the ass whipping I'll give her. She does not want to mess with me. Jake laughed. There goes the rocket, taking off again. She laughed. I appreciate your concern. You know I can take care of myself. Boss's concern, said Jake. Yeah, well, he has yet to prove that. Where is he anyway? I'm not sure. He left here a few hours ago. Without you? She asked. Where's Tower 2? We're in North Carolina with Roy. Boss don't want Roy left alone until he knows for sure what's happening, Jake replied. Then who has his back, T? She asked in a concerned-laced voice. Boss can take care of himself. You know that. There was a knock at her door. Kiki looked at the clock on the nightstand. What the hell is this? Grand Central Station? She mumbled. What's going on? Jake asked. Someone's knocking at my door. Security is supposed to call me when I have a visitor. I'm going to have a few choice words for him in the morning. Don't open the door, Jake ordered. The hell I'm not. My neighbors will be calling NYPD if I don't answer the door. It's probably my client that lives in the building with the next great manuscript. I'm coming, damn it! Kiki heard Jake yell, Hold on, Rocket! But it was too late. She swung the door open and was immediately hit with a bolt of electricity. The phone dropped to the floor with Jake yelling through the line. Her body was scooped up in a bag similar to a potato sack with a drawstring, with her bare feet dangling from the bottom. She was then picked up and thrown over a broad shoulder, as if it was nothing more than a gym bag. The chime signifying the elevator had arrived must have startled the man. He looked back over his shoulder to see a man step off the elevator. Recognition hit him immediately. What the hell was Tyrone Pendleton doing in New York? He turned and walked purposefully towards the exit at the end of the hallway. Ty had just stepped off the elevator when he saw a male figure with a sack over his shoulder. For a moment, he dismissed the scene, thinking, New York, you might see anything. It was the sparkle from the toe ring on the foot hanging from the bag that caught his attention. He looked at the pink toes the ring was on, and an instant dread filled his body. The foot dangling with the pink painted toenails and toe ring belonged to Kiki. His Kiki. What the? He took off running towards the man. Ty passed the open door he knew belonged to Kiki's condo. A neighbor opened her door and peeked out. Call the police, Ty yelled as he ran to the stairwell. They were on the 20th floor of the building. There was a breezeway on the 13th floor that led to the garage. His gut told him, if the man made it to the garage, Kiki would be lost to him forever, and that he could not allow. The man was a floor down by the time Ty reached the stairwell and looked over the railing. If you value your life, you'll drop her now. By the tone in his voice, he was not posing a threat. It was clearly a promise. Ty jumped across the railing, reducing the number of stairs that separated him from the man. His lined trench coat swung wide behind him as he jumped 3 or more steps at a time. He was now at the top of the steps with the man on the bottom. Ty jumped over the railing again, this time blocking the man's escape to the next landing. The man was definitely in shape. He was holding Kiki over her shoulder with one hand as he pointed the object in his other hand at Ty. Ty ducked the blast of electricity meant to stun him. What the hell? He in turn tackled the man, leading with his shoulder and grabbing the man's legs just beneath his butt. Pushing the man backwards, he pulled his legs from under him. The man fell backwards, dropping Kiki on the landing and the device in his hand. The man kicked Ty down the stairs before jumping to his feet. Ty was stunned for a moment as blood seeped from his nose and his back screamed from the slam against the cement stairs. A second later, he saw the man's body propelling through the air towards him. Ty reached up as the man was about to collide with his chest and pushed his body away, down the next flight of steps. Both men were slow getting up. However, the man made it to his feet first. He took a good look at Ty, as Ty did the same. The man was dressed in all black, with a matching skull cap that covered his face, showing only his eyes. The look in the man's eyes let Ty know he had not seen the last of him as he ran off. Ty crawled up the steps to reach the bag. He pulled the string apart and pulled Kiki's still body from the sack. "Oh hell, what did he do to you, babe? Open your eyes, Kiki." There was no response. He frantically searched her body, trying to determine what her injury may be, but nothing was evident with the exception of a bump on her head from where the man dropped her. He pulled out his cell phone and pushed button 1. Tower 1 picked up immediately. "Boss, where are you? Something's happening with Kiki." "I'm here with her. Somebody tried to grab her. I called the police when I heard the scuffle." "What in the hell's going on?" "I don't know," Ty said, bewildered. "I'm sending the jet back. Get here." "You got it, boss." Ty picked Kiki up and carried her back upstairs. As he reached the hallway, 2 police officers turned on him with guns drawn. The neighbors and building security were standing in the hallway near the elevator. "Put the woman down," one officer demanded. Ty ignored them and walked into the apartment. "Sir, put the woman down or I'll shoot." "He's the one who told me to call the police," the neighbor explained. The officer ignored the woman. Ty turned with an incredulous look on his face. Was there something in the stars that indicated he had to deal with stupid cops? He gently placed Kiki on the white sofa in her living room. Taking off his coat, he covered her body, then held his hands up. In as calm a voice as he could muster, he stated, "I have identification in my left jacket pocket and a gun in my back pocket." At the mention of a gun, the officers became alert and fidgety. "What are you doing with a gun?" "It's my constitutional right to bear arms. I have a permit to carry a weapon. My name is Tyrone Pendleton. I'm an attorney from Atlanta," he stated while one officer frisked him and pulled the gun. The other officer held his weapon aimed directly at his head. Ty nodded towards Kiki. "She needs an ambulance." "What did you do to her?" the officer asked. "I brought her back into her apartment." The officer checked his identification, then looked at Ty. "I know you." He lowered his weapon a little, not much. "Aren't you an agent or something?" "I am," Ty nodded, frustrated with the situation and worried about Kiki. "What in the hell are you doing here?" "I came here to check on her. When I arrived, a man was carrying her over his shoulder. I chased him down the stairwell. We scuffled. He dropped her, then ran off." The other officer was now bending to examine Kiki. "Don't touch her," Ty snarled through clenched teeth. "She's not properly dressed." He knew from experience that Kiki rarely wore anything under the god-awful blue and white Yankee jersey. "If you want to be useful, the bag and the instrument used are in the stairwell, somewhere between the 7th and 8th floor." He looked to the officer he believed to be ranked. "I have been cooperative and patient. If you hold me in this manner another minute, this city is going to see a lawsuit the likes of which you will never forget." The officer scrutinized Ty, then nodded his head towards Kiki. "Go ahead." Ty went to Kiki, picked up her limp body, and held her until the emergency medical technicians arrived.